Hello everyone, my name is Ramon Neal and I am a pre-nursing major at Thomas Nelson Community College located in Hampton, Virginia. Today I am going to help you stay alive with teaching you about the structure and function of the cardiovascular system. I'm going to go over some healthy ways that you can take in your ordinary life. And also, I'm going to cover some of the things that could put you at risk, which could stop your heart and then you won't be alive. So let's first start with the cardiovascular system. So cardio, which is the heart, and the vascular, which are the blood vessels. It pretty much has three main structure organs, and it's going to consist of the heart, the blood vessels, and then the blood. So first with the heart. The heart is basically a muscular organ. It involuntarily pumps blood, which is going to be oxygenated, and your body's going to need this in order to function. The next thing is the heart's going to be located in the inside of your chest cavity. It's going to be right between your lungs, and it's going to be located within the thoracic cavity, and it's going to be protected by the rib cage. This is the inside of your thoracic cavity. That's the heart right there in the gray sac. The heart's going to have 4 chambers, which is going to have 2 at the top, which are the atria, and then 2 chambers at the bottom, which are the ventricles. And the heart is also going to be made out of 3 tissue layers. The inner layer is going to be the endocardium, which is the most inner inside. The myocardium is going to be the middle layer where those muscle cells are going to be in bulk. I have the outer layer, which is the 3rd layer, known as the pericardium.
These are the 3 layers of the heart.
And the movement of the heart is going to be like this. So first step is the pulmonary circuit, which is going to be located on the right side. It's going to push the blood, which is going to be oxygenated, to the lungs through what's called the pulmonary artery. And secondly, while it's pushing blood out, it's also going to push it to the systemic pump, which is a second pump, which is going to be on the left side of the heart. And then it's going to push that oxygenated blood down to the rest of the body. The third step is when the blood pushes down through the rest of the body through the arteries, it's going to go through the tiniest vessels called the capillaries. The capillaries are going to then do a gas exchange, as well as it's going to take deoxygenated blood over to the veins. So when you think of veins, veins are going to send the blood that's deoxygenated back up to the heart again. And the capillaries are going to connect the arteries and the veins together. Notice the flow of the arteries connecting with the capillaries and then the veins moving back out. For conductive pathway system, the first conductive system of the chemical electrical system of the heart is going to be known as the SA node. And this is going to be the pacemaker because the heart's going to have an initial spark. When that happens, it's going to relay to the second area, which is called the AV node, and then the AV node is going to send it to the 3rd area known as the bundle of His, which is located in the heart septum, which is basically, the septum's like a wall. And then finally, the 4th area is going to be called the Purkinje fibers, and these connected fibers are going to send out an electrical spark signal to the myocardium. So remember that myocardium was the 2nd layer, and the way that that spark is going to go around is because the muscle tissue is going to be made out of what's called intercalculated disc, and those are going to be tiny cells that can push signals around the heart.
If we had a microscope, this is what your heart would look like on the inside. Ta-da!
If there are no issues, the heart's going to continue to pump those electrical signals automatically by themselves. Second structure of the cardiovascular system, which are the blood vessels. So again, the blood vessels simply do the carrying of the blood around the body. Again, with the arteries, is going to push the blood away, which is going to be oxygenated, rich nutrient. And then it's going to reach the capillaries, and then the capillaries are going to connect the veins back, and then when the connection of the veins, they're basically going to take the metabolic waste of like materials that come from cells, and they're going to push it back up to the heart again. And then when the veins connect back to the heart with the deoxygenated material, it's going to be in two large veins known as the superior, which is going to be above the heart, and then the inferior vein, which is going to be below.
So far, we've talked about the heart, how it moves the blood through different types of blood vessels. Now, let's take a deeper look at the blood cells themselves.
Next, I'm going to talk about blood, which is also part of the circulatory system. It's the third component. Blood, pretty much made up of three types. You're going to have red blood cells, white blood cells, and then platelets. The blood is made up of 90% water. Blood can properly function in a homeostatic environment when there is salinity of 0.9%. So if you dehydrate and have a lack of water, you're going to have an abundant amount of sodium or salt, and that's not going to be healthy for your blood cells. So within the substance of the blood, you're going to have the red blood cells, which are going to carry the oxygen through what's known as the hemoglobin protein on the inside of the blood cell. You have your white blood cell, which is also known as the leukocytes. That's going to be more of your immunity functioning, like your neutrophils, which are going to help to protect against infections. And then you're going to also have lymphocytes, which also have an immunity that can move through like blood and tissue. So what happens if you have heart problems, like if the heart stops due to a blockage or a lack of oxygen? It's basically going to come down to either a myocardial infarction, which is a heart attack, which unfortunately over 375,000 people in America die each year. It's the number one leading cause of death. One of the ways that the heart could stop is because of the blockage due to like your cholesterol or fat, or like your arteries getting really hard because of the blockage, or like when plaque builds up and then it clots, and then when that clot breaks away, it's basically going to start blocking the blood flow, and that's going to be pretty devastating. Some of the signs and symptoms of heart related complications like a heart attack are going to be like some tough chest pain, tightness, heaviness, and extreme fatigue, and shortness of breath. And finally, what I'd like to bring to your attention is ways that you can reduce your risk of heart attacks. One of the best ways is not to smoke. Eating healthy, such as your grains or your extra virgin olive oil instead of your saturated fats. And then you can also try doing physical activity of simply just walking outside. It's recommended to walk for about 150 minutes a week. And then just making sure that you get your regular routine checkup, blood pressures, and screening. So in conclusion, I hope that you were able to learn much about the heart, the veins, the vessels, and how blood works and moves through the circulatory system. And then finally, some of the things that could prevent the heart from properly functioning, and how to avoid being at risk for cardiovascular diseases. That concludes my presentation. I hope that you have a wonderful day. Take care and remember to stay alive.